Frankenberry cereal is coming your way. How about a monster for breakfast today?
You want a hanky Frankie?
Thanks. And how about some wonderful Frankenberry cereal with oodles and oodles of strawberry-flavored marshmallows? And Frankenberry is part of this good, nutritious breakfast. Here comes Count Chocula. Wish you could stay. How about a monster for breakfast today?
Holly's just a robot.
You're not alive.
Or is she? Monsters. Sunday at 6:30 on PHL 17.
Rent Halloween H2O tonight and go home happy. The face of good and the face of evil meet one last time in a fight to the finish. Halloween H2O, rated R restricted. Guaranteed to be there at Blockbuster Video.
You want to hear a good scary story? I tell good ones. Where's the phone now? Hello? I got a good one for you.
A $2 call. Ask your parents and call now. 976-4200. Exciting and scary stories from the Fright Line. 976-4200. Call if you dare. 976-4200.
There are people who think that Halloween is a kid's game. It isn't.
The one thing that'll spoil a party is a visit by a ghost.
I command you to be gone!
And when that ghost is your dearly departed Uncle Lewis,
I've come back to undo the curse.
you will find yourself facing deadly traps and twisted little demons.
I've been waiting for you, Jack.
Yes, it's a haunted Halloween on Friday the 13th, the series.
Tonight at 11 on WXXA.
What is up, Bombad fam? Welcome to yet another Hyperfocus. We're here on the first day of October, which is, you know, it's kind of a fun month for some people. Some people enjoy Halloween. Some people, you know, are not fun, and that's fine. You know, it's fine. They can be how they want. It's, you know, it is what it is. But no, it's good to be here with you guys. And tonight, well, I don't know. I've got a very special guest, a returning guest, actually. You know, some might say a returning friend. But we've got Mr. Peter Townley, and he is actually backstage right now. And you know what? Without any further ado, let's just bring him on in, because honestly, like, listen, we don't have a topic, guys. We're gonna go off the cuff. So get ready, because this is gonna be it's gonna be a wild one. We're going all over the place. Okay, I'm assuming. Let me see what Peter thinks. Peter, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to be seen.
Showing off the, you know, the workout room there. Okay, I see how you
Yeah,
are.
this is the office / workout room. I just assembled my my office furniture over here. So yeah, okay. So I don't have all of my stuff like in boxes stacked in here anymore, which is good. And nice. I'm moving my standing desk up and down right now. I'm very really? Happy about this too.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I have a part-time job in addition to doing stuff on the farm now. I work for a land trust up here in Northern California, which is where I just came from. I unexpectedly got called into work today.
Right.
Yeah, because apparently, so, the trust owns some properties that are managed for like environmental and historic preservation up here in Northern California. And one of those properties has a house on it, which is a residence that there's a couple of people who live on the property. And I got a call from one of them last night saying like the water's out, and the water comes from a natural spring that's up in the woods, and by gravity, goes through a pipe downhill to the house. And
as it does,
occasionally bears will fuck up the water system because there's thirsty, and if there's not surface water, they will bust open a pipe and drink out of it.
Yeah, that's just how they.
Yeah,
they're insane like that. Yeah, they're like
I
get to that water.
I didn't get that much PVC glue or primer on my hands today, but I did get some. So it was just sort of an impromptu go check it out, then run to the hardware store and get stuff and come back and fix it. And I think it'll work. I think
there you go.
I think they'll have normal water pressure again, probably, and like, they have water now, but things should be back to normal in like a day or so.
There you go. Okay. Well, so listen, you are always, like whenever you have something that comes up, it's always something that's very important. And so that's like, I always like, I think like you've had like, I mean, it's just like, it's very important work that you do and stuff. And so it's just like bears attacking someone's water pipe. I mean, was no like, I didn't even question it. I'm like, yes, okay, yeah, no, you go, you go. Park Ranger Peter, go take care of it.
Yeah, because I DM'd you. I think I DM'd you. As unlikely as this sounds, I have to like go fix some bear damage.
I just expect whenever you're say like, hey, look, I'm gonna be running a little late. I'm just expecting it to be something like that sounds like it's from Call of the Wild or something, which again is great. I'm a little, here I'm in my little, city boy apartment and everything like that. It's great. So it is.
No,
I've never fixed a water pipe that's been compromised by a bear. So anyway,
we're having a real manly day. We're here on the ranch. We've got our weights. We've got our Milwaukee Power Tools bag back there.
Damn.
And I went to the woods and fixed some. Did some plumbing work
bear
because
damage.
of wildlife. Yeah. So like all manly men, let's like complain about children's programming now, I guess. Please. That's apparently that's what men do now, I guess.
Yeah, that's what. Listen, we're just here to complain that like they made the Little Mermaid a fictional character, not a white, and I don't understand. It breaks my brain.
No,
so
somehow we got cucked by that, I guess. Is what I'm hearing. But
right. Who cares about that? Milwaukee Power Tools, right? Yeah, it is. That's seriously the most manly. Like the picture of masculinity is across from me right now. So there you go, everyone. Peter Townley, one of the former hosts of the Star Wars show, an all-around manly man. Peter Townley.
It's a very different life I'm living than the one I was, 5 or 6 years ago when I was on an internet show.
Yeah. Right. It's, listen, we're not here to measure or anything here. Okay. Like it's fine. But no. I'm glad you could be here. It's been a little bit since we've like been on camera together to complain about children's programming. So it's good to have you here. So I don't know if you caught a little bit. By the way, I want to shout out. I didn't shout out. I was actually playing a cut of just. It's like 10 minutes of Halloween commercials by someone on Twitter named Dinosaur Dracula. And so I want to go ahead and shout out Dinosaur Dracula because I watched that this morning and I just thought that was just really fun. So I thought I'd play a little bit of that. but yeah, no, that took me back, back to that. And it's Halloween. I think you enjoy spooky things, I believe. I enjoy spooky things. I know that maybe it's just me.
No, I did. No, I do. I've actually, one of the things that I've been doing, I've been listening to, there's a YouTube channel called the Exploring Series, and I've been going through their SCP Foundation stuff recently. That's been my kind of spooky thing that I like listen to in the background a lot these days. Is people is discussions and essentially reading the text of like stuff from like the SCP wiki and that kind of thing.
Right, and that we talked about that before. That's like the fictional organization that like studies paranormal stuff, right? Or am I thinking of a different thing?
Yeah, it's kind of a large like group on the internet, fiction project that is centered around. That's right, Boop. We hit one of your favorite things. I'm guessing.
All caps.
Yeah, is the SCP Foundation. Which is like this kind of fictional, like not quite like quasi government agency that is itself a type of paranormal event that is mostly trying to protect humanity and sometimes reality itself. From threats of a paranormal nature, whether they be, ghosts or aliens or like time travelers or elder gods, cryptids. Or there's like, cryptids. It's essentially everything that you can imagine. The authors of SCP stuff have like brought in some way, and some of it's really cool. Some of it's really interesting.
I've listened to a couple episodes of it, actually, like back in the day, like back when I had a job where I could listen to podcasts and stuff the entire shift and everything. I was just catching glass off of a conveyor belt. Like I was looking around for stuff. Like I loved that dramatized, kind of like radio, not radio drama, audio drama. I guess it is audio drama. Like I followed one called Tanis. I don't know if you've listened to Tanis before.
I don't think I have.
It's a lot of Eldritch God stuff, but it's done very much like Serial. It's a fictionalized Serial. It's very real, very gritty, and very much that like I'm gonna narrate and tell you what I'm doing, and then cut to like me doing like a really like guerrilla journalism like interview with like this person of a corporation who is I think worshiping an Eldritch God. It's a bunch of that kind of stuff. But I really, again, Tanis, Tanis, go check it out. It's won a bunch of awards, I think, and everything. I don't know if it's Webbies or what else they give, but it's won some awards for that kind of stuff.
I will
write that down right now. Yes, you better write it down. But no, and listen, we're here. We're into spooky season. I've actually got like I added some videos and everything here. I've got 2 minutes of commercials that I just found and ripped right before we came here and everything. I don't know if you'd be interested. Would you be interested in watching some of these? These are from like the 90s.
Oh, yeah, totally. Let's do it.
So, and a couple of these, I'm like, these are like, I don't know, man. It's going to take us right back to, I don't know, sitting there in front of the TV, man, like getting ready to go get the candy. Here we go.
This Halloween, when you stock up on Pepsi and Doritos, you'll find coupons for savings on Hershey's candies. It's the perfect recipe for a...
Wicked!
Here's something to howl about. This week at Purity Supermarkets, specially marked Pepsi Cola 2 liters are just 89 cents.
A ghost! Only a Fruity Pebbles can set my spirit free! My Fruity Pebbles? Okay. Frighteningly fruity flavors! Thanks, Fred. Barney! Boo. Yeah! Bon appetit!
Post Fruity Pebbles cereal, part of this complete breakfast. Now it's time for the Pizza Head Show.
Hey everybody, I'm done trick-or-treating and now I'm gonna go for a stuffed crust pizza at Pizza Hut. Yay!
Not yet, Pizza Head. There's one more place to go.
I don't think anyone's home.
Sure there is.
Whoa, trick-or-treat! Interesting hieroglyphics on this pizza. Ah!
Quick, Pizza Head, let's go upstairs.
Hey, who is here anyway?
It's your host, Count Steve.
Oh, nice place. You gotta go. I wanna go to Pizza Hut now!
The Count will be happy to give you a lift.
Hey, put me down! Put me down!
See you next time.
Count Micro Machine Man here. I live for the night, so I carry my own light. Micro lights. Touch them like slow, they really glow, but that's not all. Try these amazing Micro Machines light to sound vehicles. They come with a mighty mini building, have a real glowing emergency lights and make 2 sounds. Check out these super micro lights with lights that glow and passengers to go. Where do you play with this light and sound show? The Combat City playset. There's a happening heliport, military lift, pivoting gun turret, and fantastic firing rocket. But look out, in case of a real emergency. Get the Emergency City playset. There's the fabulous White House, ambulance station, rear ramp, and helipad. Micro lights, lighted sound vehicles, super micro lights, and playsets, each sold separately from Galoob. Remember, if it doesn't say Micro Machines, it's not the real thing!
Horrifying, isn't it? With all peanut butter flavor, you'll always come back for more. Nothing but peanut butter taste in each bite. And it's part of a balanced breakfast. It's to die for. It's the crunch that screams peanut butter.
Okay,
Okay,
so
the
now we can
Micro
complain about
Machines
them.
guy doing the Dracula accent is amazing. That's incredible.
Listen, it was like again.
That's so
I'd
good.
never seen that one. I'd never seen that one, and also I never had Micro Machines that lit up. What the hell? Like that was I had Micro Machines.
It's very
not-
cool.
I didn't know that they actually had that technology. Came but much later, I feel, but I guess not.
I also liked how in that Captain Crunch commercial, after Captain Crunch makes the to die for joke, there's a pause where it's almost like, wait, is it okay for me to say that?
Yeah,
because it's a children's thing. And it's and then everyone's like, oh, no, it's okay, man. It's okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. He's like looking at the director, like,
Yeah.
are we good? Are we cool? Like, is this,
Yeah,
is this gonna fly?
whoops.
It's on the cutting room floor. But yeah, no. So there, children's programming. Let's complain about it. It's so the Micro Machines guy one was. I forgot how fast he talked.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. It is literally that. He starts to sound like you lose what he says halfway through that one. And everything, I feel like he's like, the license says these people.
It's for me the reason that I'm not processing it is that I am so impressed by him doing it with the hacky Romanian accent. That's
Right.
what really gets me. Yeah,
Didn't break the whole time.
yeah.
And I
No,
don't know, they had to speed him up
because
or
it's
something.
not easy to do that in an acting class. Once for one of my exercises, it was a Meisner technique class, and one of the things that you do is you'll sort of have a scenario where you're trying to accomplish something, while someone else is there, and something is going on with them.
Right.
And the thing that I was trying to do is I got my microphone and everything, and I was doing it as it was just like, I've got to get this audition taped. And I needed to I did a Micro Machine spot in trying to do it at the same pace, in the same amount of time. I timed it. This is how long it takes him to do it. It was an airline commercial. And the pressure, I actually did pull it off. I actually did manage to do the commercial as fast as him.
Nice.
Yeah, something about the pressure of the situation in that particular exercise, I didn't think I was going to be able to pull it off, but I actually succeeded. And it's tricky. It's very tricky. It took me several takes to be able to do it that fast.
Right. Well, not everyone needs to be an auctioneer, and not everyone was born to be an auctioneer. And I mean that man was, but he hit the real big leagues, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Again,
he's
that's
a legend.
That's raw talent, especially like you said, the Romanian accent all the way through is absolutely mind melting. Like I don't know. Like again, there's no way. You hear what I'm doing right now. I can't keep up with it. So, but anyway, yeah, no. And also I love that old, I forgot. I think I vaguely remember. I don't know what year it's exactly from. That Pepsi slogan of "Be young, drink Pepsi." I remember Pepsi looking like that, right?
It's such a weird slogan.
I remember Pepsi looking like that right before it went full blue can and everything, which was a huge thing.
Yeah.
But when was it "Be young, drink Pepsi"? Because again, that's not going to keep you young. In fact, you
it's
if
probably
that's all you
not
drink,
helping.
No.
Yeah.
It
But
might
I
make you
remember
feel
Pepsi
young
had that very much
if your bones were made of noodles or something,
But I am recalling that about Pepsi now, that they were trying to play it as though like Pepsi was something that gave you a youthful energy or made you feel like they were trying to associate it with youth culture,
right?
like as
Coke's
as
for
something
your
that
parents.
you could, that the product would help you like capture it in some way. And I don't know, I was always kind of confused by that.
It's like
they always
guys.
because I think it was Pepsi that had the commercials where like the old people drink Pepsi and then suddenly they're like skateboarding and being very radical.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Being very extreme.
I gotta find those. Very yeah. Yeah. When I think extreme, I think Pepsi. Absolutely. Yeah. Nothing heals those broken bones from trying that ollie kickflip.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just dump it on it. It's fine. It's like rub some dirt on it, kind of a thing. But yeah, no. The 90s were the more I go back, like I didn't think they were that. I don't know. I think back to the 90s and I'm like, it's not that dated. And like you go back and it is just absolutely, there's some horrendous.
It's so obnoxious. It's
very. Yeah. They did not think they thought they did the thinking for the kids. They didn't know that kids could think back then or something, or they tried to be like talk down to them, I mean, cartoons in the 90s and 80s showed that. I was just talking last night on our one of our Patreon things here that I about Casey Jones. Have you seen the meme about Casey Jones from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the 80s TV show?
No.
Infiltrating a company and he goes dressed in a suit, and Casey Jones.
Does he have the mask on?
He has the mask and the hockey and the golf bag full of hockey sticks and clubs, spiked clubs and shit. And he gets the job.
I love that. God, that show is so that show was gloriously done.
See, and that so I missed that kind of stuff, but you could tell they're clearly like they're not going to notice. Like whatever, it's fine. Like they're not going to know if we take his mask off. Well, they know it's Casey Jones. Like I don't know.
But it's much funnier that all that Casey Jones has to do is put on a suit to get the job. That's the thing that they're really looking for is the suit.
If you go in there looking like Jason Voorhees with clubbed, with clubs and shit, you'll be fine. It's fine. That's what we're saying here to kids these days, But again, I don't know, man. It is America, so I guess that's your right to wear a hockey mask to a job interview maybe and get the job. I don't know.
Sure.
Anyway,
why not?
I would hope so, but yeah. Anyway, there's no hope for me. So, but anyway, well, listen, Pete, we've been talking for like about 20 minutes now, 25. And I haven't really even asked you the question that I'm supposed to ask, because this is my show and the whole premise is, what is my guest hyper-focused on? And listen, you don't even have to have anything in particular, but I'm just going to ask the question just for programming sake. Okay. What is there anything you've been hyper-focused on recently that you really have been itching to talk about?
My focus has jumped around. My focus has jumped around a few times. Okay. And there is a number of things that we could talk about. Because when I first talked about coming on the show again, it was when Kenobi is out, was coming out, and I did have a lot of thoughts about that at the time,
right?
Particularly because it was the first time I noticed people trying to critique a show from a craft perspective, but not knowing anything about craft. And it's just like, that really annoyed me.
That's the first time you noticed that? I'm sorry. I'm messing.
It was
right.
the first time that I noticed people complaining about acting and writing, trying to like be objective about it, but having absolutely no idea what the F they were talking about. And that really annoyed me.
It's understandable though. Like it is. It's very annoying.
And then the next thing that happened was Rings of Power came out, and I started getting lots of like flashbacks to all of the Tolkien Legendarium stuff I read when I was a teenager, and kind of jumping back into some of that. And I was like, have you ever been talking to yourself and you wish you could just hang up? That's how I felt thinking about like Tolkien, just like, God, could I just please shut up?
It's like being waterboarding yourself with stuff that you're interested in.
Kind of, yeah. Just like, could I not be doing this, please? And then like more recent, because like you were saying with spooky season being here, I guess maybe that's why I just started like listening to YouTube videos about the Scp Foundation and about my favorite Warhammer 40K faction, which is the Necrons.
Right.
So that's like three things that I could probably easily talk about right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's go. Let's follow that Kenobi thread to start out. And I know we try to stick away from like Star Wars stuff, but let's just start with square one, and we'll go boom, boom, boom. So
it was like,
this is your therapy session. What do you need to talk about Kenobi? Where did the people on Twitter where do they hurt you?
Well, it's just like I don't like Kenobi very much. It doesn't do it for me. And it largely for me is a craft thing. But the part that really annoyed me was people complaining about the acting, because I'm just like, I don't think someone complaining about the acting knows what they're looking at, because I watch this thing and I see competent actors and a show that's having difficulties for other reasons. And because like, what if you had to answer the question, what is acting? What do you think you would come up with, Jerry?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, me? Oh, let me see here. I don't know. Like acting is, I don't know. I think I would define it as just like an art form, as something very generic like that. A very generic definition like that. Frankly, just for me, it's more than just pretending to be another person. Like you have to, a lot of research. If you are wanting to be a good actor, I know a lot of research, a lot of work goes into a character that you're playing typically and everything, for some. And I think it varies from different types of actors and everything. Like, like maybe if you're doing more comedy or anything, I don't know. Not everyone's Daniel Day-Lewis, I suppose. So not everyone's like, Cobbler.
For you, when you're thinking to yourself, this is a good performance, or you're thinking to yourself that you're not really enjoying a performance, what is it about good acting, or what comes to mind when you think of good acting, and what comes to mind when you think of bad acting?
good acting makes you feel something. I feel like it makes you feel what the characters feel. At least you empathize. It's supposed to make you, I feel like, empathize with what the character's going through. The other one I feel like would be bad acting. I would just define as, have you seen Morbius?
I have not.
It's, you know, and look, I can switch over to our thing and play like our little, we've got like a Jared Leto clip that's really, really fucking hilarious. I don't know if you've seen, but talking to like an AI anime character on YouTube. But anyway, it's like, that's better acting from him. And again, like, he's not like the worst actor. He makes interesting choices, but that entire movie, I don't know. There were a lot of choices. I was like, really? And maybe it was more to do with the writing than the acting. I don't know. They tried. I don't even know.
It is a tricky thing to answer too, because what we think of as an actor's job and what we think of as doing it well, doing it poorly, varies a whole lot with the medium, with culture, with what year it is, with a lot of things. What acting is changes a lot over time, because now I think, from what I can tell, most of the time when people, you know, say something is bad, like that was a bad performance, mostly what they're saying is they don't believe it. Believability is a big way that we think about acting, and that is a very, very like 20th century way to think. 20th century, American media way to think about what good acting is. If you go way back to like the Greeks, or like, you know, antiquity in China or Japan, actors and scripts were very, very different. Things were often much more poetic. The masking was usually a part of what went on. Sometimes it was much more formal. You know, you can, and even when you advance into, you start getting into the area where we have recorded media, or just, you know, more depictions of theater, you'll see in silent films, they're still kind of in like the like British Edwardian drama where there's like actual like formal poses, you know, for what certain emotions are and that type of thing. And the idea that acting needs to be in some way like authentic or real, that's something that happens like relatively recently, sort of in the history of drama. It's not something that you even see enter film until like the late silent film era and like early talking pictures. Like somewhat like an actor I'm thinking in particular, there was a Japanese actor, Sesue Hayakawa, I think his name was. He was kind of Rudolph Valentino before Valentino. He was this very handsome Japanese guy, and actually the actor from the Batman, Twilight. Pattinson? Robert Pattinson looks kind of like Sesue Hayakawa. Look him up sometime. Very interesting looking, handsome dude. He was, and in his one of his last films was actually he was the Japanese officer in Bridge on the River Kwai. He's very, very good in that too.
Okay.
Yeah. He was someone who was very well known to people in Hollywood, but like he was very much this like Lothario character. He was like he was one of the very first sex symbols in film. And he didn't particularly like that. He didn't, and you know, his friends and family back home in Japan didn't really like. They didn't like the way that he was being depicted, you know, in films. And he actually turned down The Sheik because he started his own production company.
Really?
And so, and that is the film that made Rudolph Valentino. It's kind of interesting to think. if Valentino would have ever been a thing if Sessue Hayakawa hadn't decided not to do the Sheik. At least that's my understanding of it. Early silent film, the record, like, I don't know that it's as well documented as later versions are. But anyway, Hayakawa was an actor who wanted to bring more naturalism to film. He wanted to, like, I think he said he wanted to do less on camera. Because, like, when you look at, say, like Douglas Fairbanks in The Thief of Baghdad, off the top of my head, has a very strong gesture for his character's a thief. And when he wants something, he does this thing like this while he's looking at it. And it, you know, it's silent film. It's very, very different. And it's like, someone would see that now and go, that's terrible. But it's like, it's not terrible. It's actually a very good, very effective gesture that communicates something to you, and you understand it as the audience. An actor who's very divisive is Nicolas Cage, because Nicolas Cage often doesn't behave like any human being would. But that's his technique. His acting technique seems not sometimes to be based on being believable. It's like you were saying before, it's the emotional connection that you have with the character, or the emotions that you're experiencing as a result of what he's doing.
What do you make
Cage seems more interested in that than he is at seeming like he's a real life person.
Right.
Like, there's many different.
Boop is about to spam the chat because she loves Nicolas, or they love Nicolas Cage. So.
But there's a lot of that's actually a very good way of putting it. Boop. Yeah.
There you go, Boop.
So there are different ways to think about it, but generally speaking, what we think of as acting in the United States sort of comes to us originally through this Russian guy in the Moscow Art Theater, Konstantin Stanislavski, who really started going for the, behaving believably, basing your performances on things that have actually happened to you in your life, like using substitutions. If you're an actor on stage and your character is supposed to be sad, you conjure a similar memory that you have from your own life that was very powerful to you, and bring that emotion out on stage so the audience can experience it with you. The idea of the fourth wall, to my recollection, comes from Stanislavski, because at this point, theaters were no longer open air theaters. They were usually indoors with a wall behind, two walls on either side, and a fourth invisible wall facing the audience.
Right.
So the way that Stanislavski and guys in his era were thinking about it was, to the actors, it should seem as if there's another wall there. If this is like a Chekhov, living room drama type of thing, the actor should be behaving as if there's no audience there.
Exactly. Yeah.
This really upset some people. There were audience members who were just like, I can't believe they're doing theater wrong, essentially. Like, not cheating out towards the audience or whatever, just acting as though we're not there was crazy to some people back then.
Yeah.
And now that's the dominant way that we think of drama, as if there is a fourth wall. So much so that we refer to it as being an unusual thing if an actor behaves as though there's no wall between him and the audience.
Right. It's a whole shtick now. Like, there's an entire Deadpool is doing a thing. She-Hulk is doing a thing now. Like, it's totally all over the place now. Yeah. So
many Shakespearean characters do exactly what Deadpool does. Richard III is constantly talking to the audience. He has a special relationship with the audience, the way that Deadpool does. He comes down and he talks and he makes jokes and he kind of winks and goes like, watch what I'm going to do next. This is going to blow your fucking minds. So, but this comes to the United States. There's a very influential guy named Lee Strasberg who develops the Strasbourg Method, which is what we refer to as method acting. And and Strasberg, really, really emphasizes developing the inner life of the character as a separate person from yourself, not using like the Stanislavski substitution type of thing, something that actually happened to you, but really trying to, through imagination, develop, you know, the memories of this other person as if it's you, you know, and draw from those things while you're on stage, because probably you're going to be playing a character who's experienced crazier shit than you will ever see in your life. You're never going to know you're not going to know what it's like to be Othello, probably, because you wouldn't still be alive. You have to really you have to really engage your imagination and do a lot of homework.
Or like you said, like access what you think that person is feeling from your own life, kind of a thing as well. Yeah.
And kind of after Strasbourg, you get to probably what I studied the most of, which was this guy Sanford Meisner. And with the Meisner technique, they tend to think like, okay, yeah, doing all that imaginative work, that's your homework. That's not what you actually do on stage. You don't just go on stage and remember stuff. You know, you have to go on stage and behave as though you are a person. So yes, you have all of these experiences and everything else, but when you're on stage, you're not just reciting your lines having emotions, because that's not what people do in life. What people do in life is they have goals and objectives that they're pursuing, and they do what they have to do to get them using whatever strategy is appropriate. So having a motivation, having a goal, you know, there being an obstacle that you have to overcome, these are the things that you focus on. And part of the trick also is that by being focused on the person you're talking to and what you want from them or what you want them to think of you or whatever it is, you stop worrying about the audience. You start really building your relationship with this other person. And that's when you start behaving as if you're someone who's just living their life and not on stage. And the way that in the Meisner technique, I believe this is Sanford Meisner's definition of acting. If not, it's something like this. It's that acting is behaving authentically under imaginary circumstances. And I really like that as a definition of acting. And that's often what we're talking about. That's usually what we see. That's what we're used to seeing as audience members. You know, we want to believe and kind of get carried along with the thing that's happening. So there's two parts to that. And there is an element of audience participation here, because the behaving authentically part, that has a lot to do, you know, with the actor and, you know, the tools that they've chosen, the way that they're working, their relationship to the other people there. But the under imaginary circumstances bit, now that does have to do with the actor and their homework, but the imaginary circumstances also have to do with us, the audience, because if we don't believe the imaginary circumstances, we're probably also not going to believe the behavior of the actor either. Like if I am watching a science fiction thing and I just can't buy in on the premise, or if I'm watching Star Wars and I can't get around the idea of the Force, I'm not going to believe anything else that fucking happens in it, right?
Everything else is going to this happened within 2 minutes of me starting Morbius. Okay. I was like, I am just going to white knuckle this thing and try to just ride this sucker to the end. And God, it almost killed me. But no, suspension of disbelief is a thin thread that if it is cut, like you're done. You know,
it's because those imaginary circumstances are key to the authenticity of the behavior, because the behavior is arising from the circumstances. If you don't believe the circumstances, you're also probably not going to believe the behavior, and it might lead you to believe that what you're seeing is bad acting because you're thinking no one would behave like this.
Because you can't connect to what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
essentially.
The audience is you have a role in every play or movie or everything else that you see as the audience. If you don't participate with the film, chances are you're not going to like what you're seeing.
Right. Again, we all have varying levels of that because, there are people who I feel like they want gritty realism in everything, otherwise they can't believe it. Like you got to make it like Christopher Nolan directs everything, very grounded, or I'm not going to believe it. Or
they're demanding, they're demanding imaginary
I have a
circumstances.
wide threshold.
Yeah.
It's those, and I mean, I'm sure a lot of that comes from, just the conditions in which you are brought up in, maybe, like your surroundings growing up, what the experiences you've had in your life, I guess. But there are just some people are just predisposed to, not be in for there's this whole thing, if aliens are involved, well, this is malarkey, or if it's it was this, well, I can't follow this plot line because, some people have that with Stranger Things, where the first season was very real and grounded, even though it was about an extra dimensional monster, brought to this plane by a little girl with mind powers, who loves Eggos. And then we get on to the second season, and we're like, okay, that was all right. And then the third season, come on, flesh monster, they melt people and they become it becomes a giant flesh thing, which honestly, third season's my favorite of Stranger Things, and I think I'm getting on a Stranger Things tangent and everything because it reminds me of that. It's Stranger Things in and of itself is built to be just more than just an homage, but a big homage to that era of filmmaking, and it reminds me of The Thing and things like that. I love John Carpenter's The Thing, and so that third season anyway. All that to say, you're very correct. There's this threshold, and if you and people do blame it on the actors as if it's their problem, it's you didn't do your job good enough.
And there's this there's this other thing that happens that can happen particularly in film. I'm going to go off on a tangent here a little bit.
Please do.
Kind of.
Love those.
It is relevant though.
It doesn't even have to be.
It's very, very intense, very heightened emotions can be tricky because there are some characters that do behave in very extraordinary ways.
Right.
But a very skilled actor who's done their work very well absolutely gets you to buy it. One of my favorite actors is Gene Hackman. One of my favorite Gene Hackman performances is in Unforgiven. And often if I'm going to be talking about Star Wars, I might liken it to a Western because Star Wars works very much like a Western for me. When I watch Star Wars, it feels similar to a Western in a lot of ways. Little Bill Daggett is an incredible villain. And he's so frightening. He is so frightening because of the way that he can so quickly become violently angry. It's like the way that he snaps is so scary. And part of the reason that it's so scary is that it is so believable. And I believe that this is and it's like, if you see a high school theater production or something where someone who is playing a character who needs to get very, very angry. Like when someone fakes being angry, it's very easy for us to pick it up because it's an emotion that is very powerful for us in our everyday lives. And when we see someone who doesn't seem to be delivering it authentically, we just kind of go, oof. When we see Tommy Wiseau yelling, "You're tearing me apart, Lisa," you just go, Jesus Christ. because you just don't buy it, do you? It's just not
so
really
much.
there.
Yeah.
It's like it's
dialed
like
211.
Yeah,
but it should be like an 8.
But it's not even a matter of the intensity, because Little Bill Daggett hits 11 all of the time, but you believe it,
right?
And a lot of that is the way that the actor has constructed the character, and also the way that the character has been constructed by the script itself. Gene Hackman is 6 feet tall. The character's name is Little Bill Daggett. The first time he really blows his stack in Unforgiven is at the character of English Bob, who's this very famous gunslinger who has a guy who's following him around doing his biography, and who has a nickname that is the Duke of Death. Meanwhile, he is Little Bill Daggett. He's not famous. He's working as the sheriff of this shit town. The existence of English Bob is just this huge affront to him. That's the thing that's so scary about Little Bill, is the part that you don't see. Little Bill is incredibly insecure. And when someone pushes that button, he absolutely detonates in order to defend himself. Like English Bob, he feels insulted by English Bob and just absolutely beats the shit out of him savagely in front of everyone and runs him out of town. It's fucking terrifying.
That's see, and I actually haven't seen Unforgiven. This is like I love a good Western and everything.
Well,
too, so I'm gonna have to check this one out.
There is a Star Wars performance that is reminiscent of Little Bill Daggett, which is Adam Driver's character, Kylo Ren, is a character who is built on the character's insecurity.
The Kylo Ren of the Old West?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Little Bill Daggett very much is an Old West Kylo Ren. And it's like, whereas it's a little more subtle in Unforgiven, Star Wars hits you over the head with it, because like Kylo Ren like monologues about his insecurity to like the skull of his grandpa, you know. It's very overtly a part of it, but it lets you know that the reason that Kylo Ren is like this, the reason he's so violent whenever he doesn't get his way, is because he's so insecure. When something doesn't work out, he feels like it's slipping away from him, and he goes fucking nuts, and it is scary.
Oh, it's terrifying.
It's a really good performance.
Oh, it's so good. I will never forget. I don't even know how I felt. I was absolutely surprised and terrified, and also just like, whoa, holy shit. Whenever he destroys that console, when the guy's telling him that they got away, like, that's like a little bit of an overreaction. Yeah, but like a really scary one.
This guy, but it's like, I believe that guy would do that, and because that scene is directed in such a way that you put yourself in the shoes of the guy who's delivering the news, because it's kind of from his point of view. Like it's like you're seeing Kylo's back while he does it. Right. So you're getting the perspective of the guy who's in the room with him, praying that he doesn't get killed.
Right.
You know, because that might happen when this dude throws a tantrum.
Yeah.
Darth Vader, the second he doesn't get his way, you're fucking dead. You know,
and then he just
that's who these guys are.
Yeah. But like, no, the most chilling part of that one, and I don't know if Little Bill does this as well, but is if you said he's so quick to anger, but then is it like a quick like, and we're done, like after he's gotten it out, like nothing's wrong? Because that was what was most chilling to me about Kylo Ren in that moment, and Adam Driver's performance was, he goes, and it's funny too. Anything else? The calmness with which he just goes, anything else?
He'll throw a tantrum, and then he'll go back and try to be charming. Because in Unforgiven, English Bob's biographer ends up following Little Bill around after that. You know. He's basically just, why don't you come get the story from from a real badass type of a thing.
Right.
So, but you know, many actors have been in this position to where it's one of, and it happens a lot. Not all directors are great at working with actors. Some really are because they really understand the process of acting. Some don't. And some just don't have time. And it's often the last one. Films are always behind schedule. There's always tons of shit to do. There's always a limited amount of time. You've always got the first AD, you know, saying to you, the director, like, we really need to move on. We really got to get this shot and move on. And you don't always have all day to get it right. Really, really good actors just fucking deliver and you can move on. But sometimes a director has an idea and they're not seeing it. And they may take you, the actor, aside and just say something like, can you be more angry? There is no less, this is the least helpful direction ever. Asking for a result sucks because the thing that it's pushing you towards is pretending just do this instead or do this more or whatever. As much as people like to make fun of George Lucas saying faster, more intense, that's a better direction than just telling someone to act a certain way.
True.
It's do what you're doing, see if you can turn it up a little bit and say your lines quicker. It's just a simple technical note, kind of, you know?
Right.
But there's another thing, and I'm going to just jump into another thing and we'll start bringing it together later. Something also that's part of like the language of drama on both stage and screen is this, and it's in Star Wars a lot, is status. What is the status of the characters who are on screen?
Right.
It's a very fundamental part of the relationship that communicates to us, the viewers, very quickly what's going on. In drama, the status of characters tends to be pretty close. You have someone who's gunning for someone else's position, and the tension is that there's the possibility they can do it. In comedies, status is like this, because the person who's gunning for this person's position cannot possibly get there, and it's funny that they think that they could. You know, or it's like in Looney Tunes, like where you have the big dog and the little tiny dog. The relationship is very, very comedic because it's so unequal. And status, you know, is something that is very easily communicated. It's something that when you learn clowning, you learn about, because status is very, very simply physically communicated. One of my favorite, and again, it's a movie that is kind of a Western, Inglourious Bastards. The opening scene of Inglourious Bastards, where Colonel Landa goes to the farmhouse to question the farmer. It's fucking unbelievable. That is, he has so much status in that scene because because he has all the status, because he has all the power, he doesn't need to grill the guy, right? That would be unnecessary. It would be too much. It would be cartoonish if he did. That would be again, the status being too high. And now you've got something that's more like Colonel Klink than Colonel Landa. So in this situation, Colonel Landa, he's very, very relaxed and just being very conversational, very calm. He's got all day. The farmer that he's talking to, you know, is very, very low status. The only thing that he possibly has is maybe what if the guy will just leave? Maybe if I don't tell anything to him, he'll just leave. That is kind of the tension of the scene. And as the scene unfolds, you start to get the idea that, oh, Landa knows that they're here. And he is so high status that he's not going to just shove everyone around until he finds them. He knows that eventually this guy's going to tell him. He's just waiting for it. You know, he's got all day. And it's so much worse that he does it that way. It's so much more tense. It's so much more horrifying how genial and calm and very, very high status he is. It's really good. There's a lot of saloon scenes in Westerns that are like this. Clint Eastwood in the one that has Klaus Kinski in it, I think that's Fistful of Dollars. You know, he's
I can't help.
sitting there drinking and there's like, you know, the outlaw thugs who are like sizing him up and everything. And he's just super cool the whole time because he's not threatened by them. He doesn't have to come back and act macho. He doesn't need to. He has the status, and that stillness, that control of the scene is the thing that gives him status.
Right.
If he kept insisting that he was the one who was in control, it actually lowers his status because he's jockeying with the other person for position, you know?
Right.
So
it's that whole thing about, you know, like the coolest person is the one who can go in there and you don't have to prove anything. You don't have to prove anything. You're going in there like, look, I own this room. And that is, again, it makes either the coolest heroes or the most frightening villains and everything. Again, like Inglourious Basterds.
And so these two things together are where Kenobi kind of tripped right out of the gate for me.
All right.
Because you know, very early on, it has this very classic saloon scene.
Right.
Where the bad guys come in and they're looking for someone. But kind of the visual language gets a little bit confused. Because in the scene, I believe Rupert Friend in particular has the right instincts, especially when I see him in other scenes where he's very simply pursuing an objective while talking to another person, that type of thing. Because he and, you know, his two goons go into the saloon, and he, you know, the high status character, you know, has the most status when he's just kind of standing there talking. Because again, it's just like, I know you're going, it's very much a Colonel Landis situation. You're going to tell me. All I have to do is wait until you can't take it anymore.
Right.
But the unfortunate thing that happens is instead of kind of sticking with him and letting the two cronies be the ones who move around and stuff like that, the camera keeps cutting away, or like he's like walking around the guy, or like looking at his hands, or he's doing too much of the investigation himself, in my mind, for his performance, which is very good at maintaining that status, to be able to very cleanly come through. Because the way that I think the scene is actually written very well. The criticisms of the writing, and this is only from an actor's perspective. I am not a screenwriter and I haven't looked at the script, so I couldn't tell you. But in terms of the part that the actor does when they analyze a script, which is what are the words that are being said, it's pretty good. He has a speech that fucking most actors would love to have a speech like that, where he's kind of
that was a speech that was in the trailer, I believe, right?
Yeah,
the Jedi Code is an itch, which
he's talking to the people
got me
just
right away.
Saying, you know, I know you think that when these Jedi show up, it's good news for you because they want to be helpful, but that this compassion that they have, that's really what the problem is, guys. It's really not doing you any good. And the way that the scene is written through the dialogue seems to be that he's doing the Colonel Landa thing, and then one of his subordinates, the one who's just lower in status than him, whose motivation in life based on this scene seems to be to get his job, decides to just go, you know what? I can get this done faster than you. Throw the knife at the guy, and the thing pops off. And then so much so that he actually prevents her from following through. Like, no, you're not the one who gets him. I'm the one who gets him.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't mess with my method.
But the way that it's directed really throws me off of what I think is some pretty good script writing and some good performances for me in Kenobi, there's something about the direction that is not in service to what the actors are doing and the words that I'm hearing, which is a bummer, because I think Moses Ingram is a good actor. In her scenes that she has, again, it's scenes that she has individually with other characters, when she's talking to her boss, when she's talking to Leia, most of the time when she's got a very clear objective, I'm going to get information out of this person. Like, I can see her pursuing that objective authentically in a way that I'm like, yeah, this is what you would do if you want to get information out of someone. I dig that. I like seeing this person do what they do. But often what I'm seeing here, what I feel like as an actor is that she's gotten a direction, something akin to, I need you to be more angry. That's kind of how it looks. Because she seems, it's just like, yeah, it seems like it's a little much at times. And I don't think that's her, because I think she's more skilled an actor than to do that. You know, because it's not that she can't do it. It's not that she's not a good actor. I think there's something that went off possibly while it was filming, or it's just that's the takes that an editor picked, which the actor again has no control over whatsoever.
Yeah, that's,
you know,
yeah, it's out of almost everyone's control at that point, you know.
Yeah.
But
it's like, okay, so like we've been talking about Kenobi for at least a half an hour now, and it took me that long to explain exactly what it is that I don't like about it in even an uncertain amount of terms. And like, that is what talking about the craft of something is. Like, if you're going to object to the acting in something, like most of the, like when I don't like something, usually I say I don't like it, and I leave it at that. I'm not going to go, this person did a bad job, that person did a bad job, because I don't know. I wasn't involved.
You're not going to go yell on a social media site as well.
Yeah. If I'm going to try and really figure out what it is on a craft level, I have to use like my own knowledge and experience from doing acting stuff for several years. And, you know, another actor may look at this and come to a completely different conclusion than me. But it's like, if you're going to have a craft objecting to something, like, actually think about it. Just saying, no, the acting sucks. Like, that doesn't tell me anything.
You're touching.
There's nothing objective about that.
You're touching on points that, I mean, oh man, again, if someone finds out you're a Star Wars fan, you pray that it's not the conversation where they come to you and be like, oh, didn't this suck or that, you know, or like,
yeah, like
or anything,
no.
anyone talking about any kind of thing like that. Like, someone I work with, really found out I was a Star Wars fan. They were like, oh yeah, cool. Found me the other day, or a while back, actually a month ago after Kenobi had already aired. He goes, that was just terrible. It was just terrible. Kenobi wouldn't do that. Kenobi wouldn't do this. He wouldn't do this or that. Like, I'm like, how do you know? For one, you're not Obi-Wan John Kenobi. You know, like, you're not, like, I don't know what his middle name is actually, but you know, you're not Mr. Kenobi.
It's one.
You're not Ewan McGregor. Is right. OB. Yeah. OBGYN. I get you. All right.
Obadiah 1 Kenobi.
Right. But like I forget there are other complaints and everything, but it's
Jewish,
just
Latino and Japanese.
Right. All in the same. Yeah. Just like right there. But you know, it's one of those things where I'm like, if the conversation is this thing, like, see, you clearly weren't happy with everything in it, right? But the way you are talking about it isn't, well, it just sucked, you know?
No, I actually have
you're
like
making
a
an
technical.
informed.
My objection is largely technical to Kenobi.
Right. Well, but you also
Yeah.
have, again, experience in the field. You do your research, things like that, you know, and like and again, it's more, it involves more thinking than just, it just kind of sucked. I just didn't think he would do that, you know, kind
Yeah,
of thing, which is okay.
the
but
would never do that thing. We're back to the definition of acting, the Meisner way, behaving authentically under imaginary circumstances. So it's just like when you say, well, he would never do that. Are you talking about the behavior or are you talking about the circumstances? Because a lot of the times they would never do that thing. Usually that phrasing to me indicates that it's the imaginary circumstances they're having a problem with. If it's like, why would they react to that in that way? That can sometimes be like not processing, not thinking of the behavior as being authentic. And sometimes it's like, sometimes that can be like a thing that really annoyed me with The Force Awakens when people were like mad that like, it's just bullshit that Kylo Ren got beat by Rey. I'm like, okay, the movie went to great lengths to show you the following things. First of all, he doesn't actually beat her. That doesn't happen. He doesn't. he just doesn't kill her. Is all that happens. She gets away.
Correct.
She doesn't beat him. She just gets away. Second of all,
he threw her against a tree at the beginning. Is that not enough for them?
He got shot. Core, like in the center of mass, he got shot by a weapon that was
he's bleeding out
in
from an energy weapon.
Scenes, to essentially blow up a car. Like the bowcaster is so powerful that
half
like,
that movie is spent showing you how powerful it is.
Yeah, no, like Han Solo makes a big deal out of how powerful the gun is.
Guys, they're doing flips. I had someone complain like, how come Han's never shot Chewie's thing before? Like, shut the fuck up, man.
Why would he
gives a
have?
Shit?
Doesn't matter. It truly doesn't matter.
Guns.
He got hit with a gun that can blow up a car.
Right.
And not only did it not kill him, he's still fighting. Like, that's how tough he is.
Christ.
He's actually hitting himself in it to motivate himself.
Yeah. He's
and
doing the
before
whole
he got shot, he just killed his father, like face to face.
He's in a weird place.
He's having a bad day. He's having a worse day.
That's the most shit day you could possibly have. Like, you are the manager and the office gets fucking blown up on your watch, right? Okay. Yeah. And also you get shot. Like, come on. It's terrible.
Amazing that he couldn't get knocked over by a stiff breeze. So like, it's just like she didn't beat him. It wasn't at all a fair fight. Like, the movie went out of its way to make it so that she can escape him. But so that's
they literally split the ground between them.
Yeah, that's not
literally
that's
opened up a chasm.
Yeah, you didn't. That person. It's just like, okay, well, you're having a trouble with the imaginary circumstances. Either you didn't pick them up, or something else about this bothers you in a way that you aren't going along with like the story or what's happening.
Right.
They would never, and I mean, I have plenty of, I of course do they would never do that thing. This happens to me and Zack Snyder's films all the time.
Right. Oh, right.
Because it's like the first like fictional character I was really into was Superman. Because those movies came out when I was a real little guy, and I was more into those than I was into Star Wars when I was a kid. And so Superman is very much the late 70s, early 80s Superman to me. And Zack Snyder creates an entirely different set of imaginary circumstances for that character. And in my opinion, he misses the point of that character. He completely disregards what most authors consider to be the core of Superman, and he makes it something else. So I don't have a problem. Like, I think Henry Cavill is a good actor. I really enjoy him. I don't think the movie is poorly directed at all. You know, I think the script writing is probably, I haven't written the script, so I don't have a comment on it, but it's the, you know, the character himself is, it's a different imaginary circumstance. And it's one that I just don't particularly like. So I'm not going to like Man of Steel. And it's not Henry Cavill's fault. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to say, well, Superman would never do that. That's bullshit. Like,
you don't have to tweet at him and be like, no, stop it. Stop being Superman. Like, please. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it's not his fault. I wish he was in Superman movies that I liked because I think he's a great Superman. I just don't care for the version of Superman that was written for those films. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. They say we're getting more of him, right? Like, I don't know. And I don't even know where they're going at this point. So let's not get into it.
I don't care. I've finally gotten to a place with Star Wars and superhero shit where I just don't care anymore. I'm pleasantly surprised when I like things.
Yeah.
Cool, you know. I watched Love and Thunder yesterday. I was just like, oh yeah, this is fine. It's like, it's not the greatest movie I've ever seen, but it's a fun little movie. Why not? Who cares? You know?
Well, yeah, it's
you
a fun
invest
romp,
in everything as if it has to be the biggest thing that's ever happened. You're always going to be disappointed. There's too many of these fucking movies for all of them to be great. I think very few of them are.
Literally with Marvel, like we are to the point where we are past, like we're encroaching upon like 30 plus movies.
It's too many.
And everything.
It's just too many.
And it's like they're gonna have to start just being they're just movies. You know, it's like it's just another brick in the story. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. And again, like you said, that's fine. You know, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I had a little bit of a different reaction to Love and Thunder. Not that we won't get into that totally, but just because, again, the certain themes that were in it, you know, and personal life and things like that kind of go with it. You know, it got me in the dad feels. We'll say
of course
that,
it did.
You
of
know,
course it did.
Like as a girl dad, oh man, that thing like put me down and like twisted my arm behind my back.
Well, I mean, it is,
but it's just an entertaining movie.
It's more.
It's not Goodfellas.
It's more like a kids movie than than maybe any of the other Marvel movies. It's more of a It's more of a fun kids movie. It's more like, it has kind of some prequel vibes to it a little bit, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't say that, and I'm not saying that unfavorably at all. But it is structured as a story being told to a kid. Again, to me, the movie lets you know right away what kind of movie it is. This movie is a story being told to a child. That's what Love and Thunder. It
literally starts out like that, right? Like Korg is telling it to his children, right?
Yeah.
Or some children.
That's exactly what it is. And people are mad at it because they were expecting something else. And it's like, the movie told you what it was going to be, and you ignored it, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, we've had like even that character's even had so many different iterations, even in that, you know,
just in the movies he's been in.
He's had the hardcore serious, and he's had the dark, and he's had the light and fun. And people go through different periods in their lives. And also these are fake space Vikings as well.
Yeah.
But you know, like it's I don't know. It's anyway. You got me.
Well, it's like, I mean, I'm
get on.
Okay? I guess I was a comics person before I was a Star Wars person.
Okay.
And, you know, I was a Star Wars person in the 80s when there were only 3 movies and there were all these books and comics that were just fucking weird as hell. And so it's just like, I mean, to me, continuity is poison. And that's the thing that I like the least about the Marvel superhero movies, is that they're all tied together in a continuity, and that and it's just like, I don't care. I don't want that. That just kind of sandblasts the detail off of these different characters. I would rather them. Okay. That's the thing that I like about the Thor movies, is that they're all so different from one another. That's more fun to me than most of the event. Like I was I've kind of been mostly off the Marvel's movies since the first Avengers films, and I'm just realizing now how long that's been.
That's a long time, my friend.
Because they put these characters.
Judgment.
They put these characters together, and they're all the same guy. They're all basically the same person. They're all the same kind of dude. You're watching. You're
gonna set this chat on fire. No, just like.
Well, it's like it's just like, well, who's Tony Stark? Oh, well, Tony Stark is a brilliant scientist, but he's kind of a difficult person to get along with. And who's Bruce Banner? Oh, well, he's a brilliant scientist, but he's kind of a difficult person. And it's just like everyone is that.
Stop. Thor's not a scientist.
Ant-Man comes along.
Ant-Man
also
to get
is
along
that.
with.
Like,
he's a difficult person to get along with. So
it's just like, and to me that is kind of the problem with the like the Marvel movies that I like the best is I like the Thor films because they're quite different from each other, and I like the Guardians films because they're pretty different from a lot of the other Marvel stuff because they're set so far away from it that they're largely separated from the continuity for the most part. And I really prefer that. The thing that like because Warner Brothers has all the DC Comics characters, I've kind of preferred how there's less of a vision over there because the movies are more distinct. Shazam is absolutely nothing like the Batman. They could not possibly be in the same universe. And I like it that way. The Batman, which is more serious, could not possibly be in the same universe as that fucking Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. They're very, very different kinds of people. And I love that. I really enjoy that. And I hope that keeps up with those characters because I think they're more interesting when they get to be different from each other. Really, continuity just bores the shit out of me, and I wish we had less of it in Star Wars. That's kind of the thing that I think is cool about Andor is you can't imagine Andor happening at the same time, you know, as some other parts of Star Wars. It's so different, and I dig that. I would rather be exploring like different moods and styles and ideas about what Star Wars is than just get different parts of one great big long onerous story.
Well, and I mean, you know, that's what Star Wars is that's what's so good about it is that you can fit so much different stuff into it and plug it in, you know, like tell a different story. And we're just now getting to play with that, frankly, you know, in the last several years with the television stuff. And I mean, the television stuff mainly is stuck to the guns. But like you said, like Andor is a little more of you know, again, another friend at work, it was like, it's like, and you're going to hate this comparison because it's a Marvel comparison. it's like the Winter Soldier in Star Wars. And it's more like, it's a spy thriller, like kind of a thing. And I've not seen much of the Bourne movies, but I know that, you know, he worked on those and everything, you know? So,
that makes sense.
Oh man.
But Andor has the most tense action scene I've ever seen in anything Star Wars. The scene where they're in the warehouse in the gunfight and shit is falling off the ceiling.
The engines and shit, whatever that was, just the giant anchors for no reason.
That legitimately had me tied up in knots in a way that I just never have been.
Especially when he's trying to run through, right?
Oh,
he's trying to run through and grab the box again.
Just get out.
It's like Indiana Jones almost, like kind of a thing. Like
that was really
Indiana
cool.
Jones is all about crushing people with heavy stuff. Have you ever noticed that? That's just the thing I've noticed about Indiana Jones. But that absolutely is so tense.
Because that could not be
tense before that because they're breaking in, they're closing in on him. But then you add the whole tension of shit falling from the ceiling and everything, and the chaos of it all.
And just
it's a great
and the way the camera shakes a little bit when something like the impact that everything seems to have as it hits the ground. It's so different from, say, Attack of the Clones, when they're in the droid factory, and you could practically hear Powerhouse playing in the background while they're like dodging like all of this stuff on the assembly line.
Right.
I need to do that. I need to just take that scene and
Please do.
Just put that. Just put that over the top of it.
Just do that. Do that and post it on Twitter, like in sections or whatever you got to do or something.
It's too easy.
Yeah,
it's so low effort. Someone has to have done it.
Look it up. I bet that they haven't. I bet that you would listen. This is how you put yourself on the map, Peter. Okay, it's like, no.
This will be my next low effort content. Is putting Powerhouse over the Droid Factory. All right, I'll see about this. You know, I'll do it as low effort as possible. I'll do it on my phone in iMovie. Yeah.
Listen, please do. Listen, so you already entertain me. I love your random off the wall thoughts because it reminds me a lot of my twisted brain. And so just put this out. Put this out with more of the Twitter content, please. But listen, we've been talking about this for a little while. We've been talking.
I need to start drawing more. I need to do more Steve Urkel in Lord of the Rings situations. I need to be drawing more of that.
Okay, I don't know if I knew that you do draw and stuff then.
Yeah, it's something that I got out of the habit of doing that I've been meaning to pick up again, and drawing stupid things. I think like drawing like a handsome Squidward version of Yoda, which I did a while back.
Oh my God.
You didn't see that one?
No.
I'll send it to you.
This is a please do. Yes. Also, no, that's your shtick. And as we know from, again, a friend of the show, Scotty J-Ro, you got to have your shtick, when you're on Twitter. You got to have it. So
Scotty's shtick has really been taking some twists and turns in the past, I would say about year or so. Because it was about a year ago that the trailer in 5 minutes incident happened. And I feel like that's when the character really started to develop.
That's right. That's when he really started taking some big swings. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he really started taking some big swings on it. You're right. That's the perfect way to put it. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm DMing this to you right now.
We're getting this thing here. Oh man. Okay, I got to see this. This is exclusive for me too, right? Right? Like, oh my God.
No, I posted this a while back.
You did? Oh, yeah. That's incredible. Here, I'll show a little bit of here on screen there. That's great, man. Handsome baby Yoda is what you say that is?
Yeah. Well, it's the handsome Squidward version.
Like if he got his head caught in the pram door or something. And
yeah. Well, I just saw I guess was there like a Tales of the Jedi trailer a while back or something?
Just released, at D23, I believe.
Because someone posted a still image that sort of looked like Yoda had hair, but it was probably just like the shadow of his hood or something like that. But the first thing that I thought of was Yoda, handsome Squidward. So that's what I drew.
That was that recent? Wow.
That was recently. Okay. Yeah.
Listen, it's like I don't even know you anymore. Anyway, listen. Part of the show is that we allow people to kind of come in here. We allow the dregs and the lovely people in the chat to come in here and chat with us. And I put the link out in the out in the live chat. So you guys out there, feel free, come on in. Ask us about Romanian accent, the Romanian accent of the Micro Machines guy. Ask us about whatever you want to. But without any further ado, guys, it's live chat call-in, which I can't find here it is. I couldn't find the video. Is that a problem with direction or production that I couldn't find the video and I said it out loud on mic? That's direction. Anyways, we have great direction here. Yeah. Anyway, so what would be your next drawing, you think? What's the next thing you got cooking in the pot?
I don't know. I think chat can. I think I need chat's help on that one.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, I think I might.
What in the chat?
I really liked the last episode of Rings of Power. I thought it was pretty freaking, and that's a series that mostly I have kind of not been into for a couple of specific reasons, but I really like the storyline with Arondir. I think the actor playing him is really fantastic. I really like his performance, and I like Bronwyn, the love interest, and I like the villain Adar, who's being played by the guy who played Benjen Stark in Game of Thrones. I can't remember his name off the top. His performance is really, really good too. And I like it. I've been drawing pictures of Steve Urkel as Arondir. But I'm trying to figure. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what else what other stupid thing to do with those characters.
Well, chat, what do you think Peter's next stupid drawing should be? And that sounds very mean, but like his words, not mine, frankly. So what should Peter's next drawing be? So please, if you're still watching here, I know we've got some of you. I know Michael's talking about Tealers and all that. So
well, the Tealer incident. Yeah, that was maybe about a year ago, like, I think.
Maybe Scotty Jero as I don't know, Gollum or something. Well, that has been brought up actually.
It could be you and Scotty as Frodo and Gollum, maybe.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. Please. Oh man. Well, okay. Well, we actually have a couple guests waiting backstage. A couple people waiting to come on in here. So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and bring in our first guest. And he's a fixture of the show, a regular, as they say. So I'm gonna go ahead and play an intro video for Connor Chikiti.
Gotcha. Do you know who I am? I am John Cena!
Can't see it. You can never see it coming. You can never see the John Cena Boba Fett.
I mean, it makes sense because
that's his whole thing. Yeah, that's his whole thing. Well, you know, honestly, I did not put 2 and 2 together, and I'm sorry for saying 2 and 2 because I know you just the one eye.
One and one.
Yes.
So
I'm sorry,
Connor. I have a very it's a very stupid, childish joke.
We love those.
I was going to ask you if technically you have 50-50 vision.
That's the first time I've heard that. That's pretty good.
You should draw. Here's one. Draw Connor as Cyclops from X-Men. Maybe.
Sure.
Is that too far? Too far?
I mean, no.
Should I boot myself?
I sign off on it. So
okay.
No, it's funny that you guys talked about Tila because like that was I think that was like September actually. It was like
it was just about a year ago. Yeah.
It was the last Disney Plus day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was it before? It was right before because I know we had your epic like Twitter space.
That was
happened on the day of Disney Plus.
That was it. And I remember it because like Scotty was trying very, very hard to be in character. And I was assembling the squat rack that you see behind you. And I accidentally left the mic on and it was making a lot of noise. And Scotty broke character like, what the fuck are you doing?
He said something too. He's like, are you stacking metal crates or something? Like, what's going on? Yeah. So Connor, did you have anything that you wanted to ask? Any observations on anything we've talked about, or observations about method actor Scotty Jero, perhaps a stupid drawing that you would want Peter to do?
I mean, that's already been set up with me as Cyclops. So we're good there.
I mean, do you have any other ideas?
Scotty? Like,
oh man, we can go all.
The man's an enigma. Like, I don't know. Like, we've talked about it before, but I don't know if Peter has heard it. Me Jerry, and Alden Diaz, and like a few other people, we're gonna hear about Scotty's death, and like we're just gonna think it's a bit.
When we're in our 80s and stuff, like, yeah, it's gonna be like, no,
I'm gonna
yeah,
be in a retirement
let
home
me
or
see the
something.
body.
It's like, and someone's gonna be like, Scott Jarrow passed away. It's like, there's no way.
No way in hell.
No way.
No way in hell that dude's dead. No, like he's pulling a bit. No, I think we were talking about this, and I said, no, I've seen Stranger Things. You cut him open and make sure there's not cotton inside of him, okay?
Yeah.
Like let's make sure that he's real, and then I'll believe it. But yeah, no, that's all very morbid. But it is also like that's to the point that we are with Scotty right now, is that the man is 10 levels deep at certain points that you don't know which level you're dealing with him at sometimes, right? And
I refuse to believe he's like real. You know,
I have met him. I've met him in the flesh. Like the man's hugged me several times. So he does exist. Unless it's
a bit.
A very, very elaborate, like Daniel Day-Lewis, like preparing for a role to play. I don't know.
It just occurred to me that the
YouTuber?
name of the scientist who makes the killer androids in Dragon Ball Z is named Dr. Gero.
Really?
Yeah.
We might have
been a
some.
long
I don't
time
know
since
what to
I've
do with
seen
that. I don't know what to do with that connection at all, but it
It
that's
needs
just
to
what
be.
my mind does.
It needs to be anything we do with all of those random thoughts that we don't know what to do with, we just regurgitate them onto Twitter, and and then they take on a life of their own. But I can
maybe
guarantee
Android
you
the good ones at least.
Oh God, see, I'm gonna get my Android numbers screwed up. But what if the pretty girl android was Jar Jar Binks, and that's the android that marries Krillin? That would be something, It has a child with him. That'd be pretty good.
That would be pretty great. Like
Yeah.
a Jar Jar Krillin baby. Like bald with big ears and everything.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I feel like, so if Scotty is the doctor who creates the androids, I would honestly, I think I'm Krillin, frankly. It just feels like. I don't know. I feel like I give off big Krillin energy. Maybe. If I shaved my head, maybe. Who knows?
Don't.
Connor.
Jerry.
Who are you in this DBZ
I don't know.
universe?
You
don't know?
I've never watched Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, we'll get out then. All right, later. No, well, thanks for stopping by, Connor. It's been great. Listen, we just don't we don't tolerate, we gatekeep here. That's what we do. We gatekeep. So anyway, listen, we've got two other guests who want to come in here, and I'm gonna let in someone who is one of my favorite people, just in general. I would say on Twitter, but we've met in real life and everything. And I believe this might be your first time calling in, Mike, but please correct me if I'm wrong. I think you might, I don't know. Like, listen, my memory is terrible. You guys know that, but without any further ado, let's bring in Mike.
Wait, holy crap. Holy crap. Holy, oh my God. I knew it. Ah!
Mike. Oh my God. It's the Star Child. How's it going, man? Oh, you're muted. Hold on. There we go. There we go.
Sorry,
We're
Paul
all
was
good.
talking
Yeah.
to me, and he was telling me to make sure that Scotty knew that he was over here instead of over there. So, yeah, no, I didn't know if I was going to
his
do
damn telekinesis, man. Paul's just like he's a nut with that telekinesis. So, how's it going, man?
Good. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to watch tonight, and actually, this is my first time on. So,
this is monumental. Then, like, welcome.
Absolutely, yeah. So, no, I'm just enjoying the conversation. I really don't have anything to add. I just wanted to drop in and say hello and.
Yeah, good to see you, man. We talk on Twitter sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you didn't, like, on Twitter, you can't tell how much a picture of perfect masculinity that Peter is, without seeing his office full of exercise equipment and Miller tools.
And power tools.
I believe there might be like some Miller Lite. Like you don't buy those those non, like you buy a good American lager. Am I correct?
No, I actually haven't had a drink in 8 years. So.
Oh, well, I'm very sorry for that dumb joke.
Mostly I'm buying seltzer water. Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm just gonna take myself out then. All right, no, here we go. No, that's awesome. But yeah, no. Well, Mike, dude, seriously, thank you so much for calling in and everything. And I don't know, do you have a dumb drawing that you think that, well, like what suggestion for a dumb drawing do you have for Peter? Like what weird combination? And honestly, the more twisted, the better.
Well, so one of the things that Scotty and I do have in common is that we are both massive Kiss fans, but we all love Star Wars too. If there could be some kind of Star Wars Kiss mashup.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
That, I think that speaks for itself.
Yeah. I have to figure out which pod racers the members of Kiss would be.
Oh my God! You have to put Ben Quaterneros as one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
As Peter Criss, he's definitely a Peter Criss.
Sure. Yeah. This is okay. I can already see it like formulating between the two of you there. So look,
I love it. And shit. Why am I forgetting his name? The Doug.
Sebulba. My little twisty, my little backwards twisty boy.
Yeah, he's a Gene Simmons for sure.
I was gonna say he's the
demon.
Man.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
He's the demon.
Would Gasgano be Gasgano? Is that Gasgano or Odie Mandrill for why did I forget Scotty's neighbor's name?
Paul Stanley.
There, Paul Stanley. Who for Paul Stanley? You think? I'm thinking Gasgano, but that's just because I love Gasgano. So
just make them all of
definitely not Rats Tyrell.
Throw in a Vinnie Vincent and an Eric Carr. Throw them all in there.
Team Toe Panglis. He's a Team Toe. I'm guessing. I don't know. Anyway, well, thank you so much for stopping by and for that's a fantastic suggestion there. And you know what? Please don't make this your last time calling in here, okay? Because I don't know. We need more. Usually it's just Connor and the next guy showing up, and I'm tired of it. Okay, I'm just tired of it.
Here's the thing. I'm East Coast. I'm getting old. It's 11:45. This is kind of late for me, even for a Saturday night.
Oh man, that's late.
I'll say it is 11:45 over here. So listen, Bear Grylls over here had to go fix a pipe that a bear tore apart. So anyway, this man's a real American hero is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, listen. I'm going to go ahead and push you out, and I'm going to bring in our next guest. But again, thanks so much for stopping by, Mike, and feel free to stay in the behind stage area if you like. So, bang, have a good night.
All right, good talking to you guys.
Good to see you, Mike.
There's one thing I got to do. Does every show have to have a catchphrase when they bring people in and take them out? Is that more professional, or is that
no.
just adding? No,
that's
I like the more natural approach.
Yeah,
sometimes
having a catchphrase is probably cringe, and most people's catchphrase now is just "Let's go." I don't know why people decided that was the thing that everyone had to say, but it's awful.
But let's fucking go is the that's when you really want it to stick. And
when The Rock started using it as a catchphrase for his energy drink, that was for me really the nail in the coffin of let's go.
Listen, Dwayne's a good guy. Okay. He could crush my head between he could crush my head right here.
Dwayne is still the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. I will say.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And so get the Hyperfocus out of here. No, it's not working. No. I'm just going to bring someone else in. Here's Michael McCoy.
Imagine there's no pizza.
Imagine if there was no Michael McCoy. I couldn't.
What
if I
was
tried.
that Cowboy Junkies ass music that was playing underneath that?
That was a gospel, like that was a Baptist church band right there, is what that was.
I
I'm telling
forgot
you.
about that clip until you played it just now.
That is direct from the depths of hell, Herman Cain. And listen, the longest intro of all time. They go on and on and on. Like I don't know how many times like they go around the horn with that like bum 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 bum, but it's painful for me too. So I want you to know I feel all of your pain. But I love to torture people, obviously. So I do this show. Michael, how's it going, Modelo Michael?
I'm doing great. Here drinking my iconic drink, water.
You motherfucker. How dare you go off brand? How dare you go off brand? That's fine. It's fine. So Michael, what brings you to our lovely shores this fine evening?
I just came to hang out. I joined a bit late, and so I came in the middle of an acting discussion, and it made me sort of reflect on acting and how it relates to something I'm interested in, which is professional wrestling. I've just been sort of musing on that for a while.
I love wrestling. Wrestling is such an interesting form of performance art. It is so it is so incredibly physically demanding that it really, like, I know a few professional wrestlers, and what they do is really it's really truly incredible. And it's like it is heightened in this really specific way, because it's all about, in professional wrestling to me, the audience participation in it, buying into the imaginary circumstances of wrestling. It demands more of you as an audience member than most other performances do, in my opinion, because you're really going all in on something that is completely ludicrous, and to get caught up in it is really magical. My favorite wrestling promotion is in Oakland, California. It's called Hood Slam, and Hood Slam aims to be like a very, very ridiculous form, of professional wrestling. And it's one that very specifically you can't bring kids to it, because pro wrestling is so set up around being kid friendly. It's just kind of a part of the culture, culture of the art form. So at Hood Slam, their thing is they want to let the performers do whatever they want. And so they say you can't bring kids to the show, because that's part of the thing for them, is that they don't have to censor themselves. And the audience, Hood Slam has some very specific audience chants. And my favorite one is, "This is real." The audience will just start chanting, "This is real. This is real." So in a Hood Slam match, you might have a Chupacabra fighting Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. And then, and the guy playing Sub-Zero has like silly string in his gauntlets. And he does the thing and sprays El Chupacabra down, who then freezes in place. And then as he's winding up to uppercut him, the audience just starts yelling, "This is real. This is real." So it's just you're getting all in on the most ridiculous thing that you've ever seen. And that, doing an audience participation in that way is so fun. I have never been so unable to speak the next day as I have been from when I went to Hood Slam once. And if you remember Gangrel from the 90s, WCW, Gangrel, the Vampire Warrior. Gangrel's thing in his entrance is that he would come out with a goblet of what was supposed to be the blood of his previous opponent. You'd climb up on the turnbuckle, take a big swig, and then blow this huge cloud over the audience.
Yeah.
And the The way that we got into it when Gangrel did that and just like spat blood all over us, and in this small wrestling ring in a warehouse in Oakland, California,
right,
was incredible. And it, because he actually got to win the title that night at Hood's. They were doing their version of WrestleMania, which is called Entertainia. And Entertainia was it was like a full weekend of matches.
Isn't that where He-Man lives?
Yeah. And he held the Entertainia title one night, and the look of joy on Gangrel's face was just such a great thing. That's one of the great things about professional wrestling is you get to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So by believing the story, even just for the few hours that you're there, you get to be a part of it as the audience member.
Absolutely. Being at a wrestling show is so unique. I compare wrestling to theater a lot, but the audience participation is the one thing that really sets it apart.
Yeah, because you put yourself in there so that the authentic behavior is very easy to get yourself. You don't have to go, well, that guy would never do that, because you've really put yourself into the story and made yourself a part of it.
Yep.
In a way that you're not going to stop and just go, would John Cena really say that? No, that's not going to be on your mind at all.
So listen, I've never actually gone to a live wrestling event. I did get into it with my friends for a hot minute for a little bit. My two favorite wrestlers of all time. Again, this was a couple month period, so I have no room to talk in this conversation. But my two favorites from that period, Funkasaurus and Santino. The man who had the sock puppet snake on his arm. Mm-hmm. I had no idea what wrestling was until that time in my life, and I was forever changed. They told me about the whole I think Chris Jericho, what did he have, a bastard son that turned out to be just a human hand or something, or someone had someone had a bastard son and it came out as just a whole hand.
Young, I think.
Okay, but my friends told me these stories.
3 or 4 different characters
in the same night,
concurrently. He would wrestle as Mankind, and he might come out later in the same show as Cactus Jack, and the audience doesn't care. They treat it as though it's 2 different guys, even though they're both obviously Mick Foley.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
Listen, the one time I was watching with them that broke my brain, and I was like, this truly is an art form that can be anything, was when Chris Jericho sent essentially a video in. He wasn't even in the fucking ring. It was a video comes on the Jumbotron that's Chris Jericho in Ron Burgundy's library or something. It's mahogany, a high back chair, a silk robe, and he's talking like a mustache twirling villain about, talking about his opponent's sobriety or something, and you might not be so sober for long. It's the and I was sitting there going, what the hell am I watching?
Yeah,
this is real. This is real. Whatever. Yeah. No, it's no, it's, and honestly, I haven't watched it with any other friends because again, that was just such a special time for me and everything. And I don't
watched a little bit with
any of the things.
When
I did.
When me, Chris, and Dan were watching.
I like that CM Punk guy. I'm just saying. I don't know if that's a bad thing to say or not, but I do enjoy
it. Might be nowadays, but
I don't know. What did he do? Oh, yeah. Never mind. How dare that man
backstage drama? He
exist.
Got into a fight and had to basically. He didn't quit the company. They basically forced him out temporarily and had to vacate his title. It's been a whole dramatic thing.
Nice.
Yeah,
you don't have to say it. I'm sure that Chris Jericho will make Chris Jericho will make a video about it in his study.
Yeah, because he's still going at it. But it's so funny, in the
and
modern
the other thing that's cool that wrestling has going for it too is that the physical performance, in terms of like getting like caught up in the moment and the story and everything.
Yeah.
The live version is so great for that because the technical stuff doesn't always matter as much because you can get into it. In turn, like when you're like watching wrestling on TV, Japanese wrestling is fucking amazing.
It's brutal as hell.
It's like Tetsuya Naito's almost like he's like around 40 years old, and he does these like flying DDTs off of like a spinning DDT like off of the ropes. That I'm just like, how the fuck? How do you have any discs left in your back doing this stuff a few times a week for like the last 20 years? Nuts. Those guys are unbelievable. Like I was so excited when Shinsuke Nakamura, you know, when he first came into the United States and started wrestling in NXT and WWE. He wrestled in NXT a match against Sami Zayn. That was I remember certain spots of that match still. It was so good.
Yeah, my favorite wrestler is a Japanese wrestler who happens to be in WWE. It's Asuka. Like any Asuka match.
She's amazing. She's really, really good.
Incredible. Like no one has a style quite like hers. Like even just the way she'll like taunt her opponents mid-match is just so unique. Like,
and also she's just a shit poster. Her Twitter account is
it's just posting like her photoshopped.
She's the only pro wrestler whose social media I've ever seen and been like, yes, you're a real person.
That's it's less of an act for sure. Like, that's incredible.
So funny in the social media age that like now more than ever, because like obviously back in the 80s there was a lot more doubt, a lot less people knew that wrestling was fake, but now it's so hard to get away from it through social media. And you know, if you're really into it, you get into all the backstage drama that come out through the dirt sheets and the news cycle and whatever. But there are still some wrestlers that make you forget that it's fake. Like one of my favorite wrestlers is a guy named MJF. And MJF is notorious for staying in character at all times. And he is the most like despicable heel, white suburban rich kid. Like he walks around in a suit and like a plaid scarf, just acting like a douchebag. And he's notorious for like fan events. Like he'll flip off children and like make fun of disabled people. Like he goes all in. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, there are guys that are just like, absolutely crazy. New Jack was truly out of his mind. New Jack tried to, he basically committed murder in the ring once, and he tried to kill another guy and did not succeed. The occasionally people who are actually very dangerous and crazy do end up in professional wrestling. Luckily, that doesn't happen that often.
Yeah. For the most part, it feels like at least most of the people that I have heard, again, I don't follow much of it, but you know, if someone's like an actor now, or they have been on podcasts and everything, you know, they're usually very like real sweethearts and everything, like whoever, just like off camera and everything. It's just like, hey, like
happen a lot, but then also you get the opposite from time to time as well. But sure.
Oh, for sure.
It's interesting seeing people's real personalities come out of it nowadays, outside of just their characters, you know, on wrestling television. And it's, again, people I feel like who aren't into wrestling really underestimate the wrestler's talent, because they are, my favorite way I've ever heard it described is they are being actors, athletes, and stuntmen all at the same time.
Yeah. And some of it's, and part of it is improvised.
Absolutely.
Is kind of the amazing thing, is that some of that stuff they are working out in the ring, you know, just like getting close, saying, okay, this, and then you do it. And these guys are good enough that they can do that without killing each other.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
It's really impressive when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, and it's not just grown men pretending to punch each other, because it's so much more than that when you get invested in the storylines and the characters, and they make you forget that it's fake.
Yeah, no, it's more than just moves that you can try on your little brother in the pool. And stuff like that as well. Just like I'm telling you, the friends that I watched wrestling with, like before I even watched it with them, I mean, like went over to a friend's pool, and that's all they were doing on each. I just watched them like suplexing each other into the pool,
like off,
and I'm sitting over there like, and I'm like, not gonna do that right now.
I mean, Jerry, that is kind of how CM Punk started. CM Punk.
Oh well, there you go. Yeah.
A wrestling ring in his backyard, and just it was like he and his friends just started doing incredibly dangerous stuff that they didn't know better than to do, right. And
the stuff that they tell you specifically,
it ended up becoming a thing. Yeah,
that's insane. I actually did not know that, so that's a really fun fact. So
he started off as a backyard.
The lowest of the independent circuits is backyard.
Yeah, it's just a guy who built.
I've been to some of those
in his
matches,
backyard and charges admission. Like that's
incredible.
Wrestling is also interesting because it kind of comes out of circus to a certain degree.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It's very like wrestling stuff is very, very carny, and it's like there's still a lot of like carnival lingo that gets used in wrestling. Fans are, for example, referred to as marks.
Yep.
Because in the carnival, that's what you're looking to do is get some money out of the rubes. And like a fan is someone you're essentially fooling is kind of the way that they approach it. And it can be a very shady business to be in as a performer for that reason also. Vince McMahon, incredibly unscrupulous person. Not a bit like as soon as they just immediately they were just like, oh, by the way, he's just not the CEO anymore. It's just like, oh yeah, okay. In other words, we're about to find out something about Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
And it's like, and
every notorious wrestler is like a household name was probably a terrible person backstage. Like Hulk Hogan is known for like suppressing the careers of other people. To like
he screwed people over all the time because Vince McMahon would do whatever he said. And so it's just like, Hogan essentially booked the shows. Hogan pretty much decided what was going to happen. And there were guys who didn't get along with them who were very good wrestlers whose careers didn't take off. And also at the same time, there's like before that era of wrestling, when you go way back to guys like Bruno Sammartino and like before, there was the county fair element of wrestling where there were professional wrestlers who would just get in a ring at a county fair and you had to pay money to fight. He would just be there for hours and hours. Local farmers just going up trying to pin him, putting their money down to try and see if they could win the pot. And like, that was what a professional wrestler did. Like in the late 19th century. And eventually it, turned into the entertainment thing that it is today. But like some of those, like, what was it? Because they called it like catch wrestling. There was like Gotch, and I can't remember if Ed Lewis was one of those kinds of guys or not. But when you go back far enough to like the guys who taught the guys who are wrestling now, like those were like actual in the circus wrestling dudes. And also, like in the 60s, you had guys like Gene LaBelle. Gene LaBelle, who's an actual judo champion, was a pro wrestler for a while. Judo Gene LaBelle. One like in like mixed martial arts and judo, not a guy you would want to mess with at all.
Yep.
But he did work for a while as a professional wrestler, just doing the thing, just, putting on his gi, going out into the ring as Judo Gene, and just doing pro wrestling stuff.
Yep.
He taught at this judo studio I went to. I never got to take a class from Gene. He taught at this judo studio in Los Angeles with this Armenian judo sambo champion, Gokor Chichivian. I took some of Gokor's classes, but Gene mostly taught the mixed martial arts guys. And Gene has been hit. Gene looks like Popeye. He's been hit in the face so many times that it's like, what did he originally look like? It's hard to tell. But
oh my God,
he would put he'd take one of these very young, very, very strong guys and just pin him and put him in a very painful submission hold.
Mm-hmm.
And like the guy would be tapping out and Gene would be like, who's better looking, you or me? Eugene, it's you.
That's insane. Well, you know who is better looking here in this crew?
It's me.
It is you. It is you. I was trying to find a way. I was trying to find a way to pin Michael. Michael, I love you. Get out.
Good to see you, Michael.
We have one more guest wanting to come in. And this is another, as I say, regular of Hyperfocus and everything. And listen, I'm going to let, I have no other videos. We've had too many guests tonight. I have no extra video. So, you know what? Dealer's choice. We got Herman Cain, God Toilet, or
do you
John
have
Cena?
the guy who looks like Dave Filoni singing?
I can get it real quick though. It is on a different set over here. We're going to Bombad Cast for a sec. Let's see. Here we go. We're taking requests. Oh man. Which one again? I'm sorry.
The guy who looks like Dave Filoni singing You're the Inspiration.
Oh no, that's why it confused me. That is Dave Filoni singing, right?
I'm sorry. The video of Dave Filoni himself singing You're the Inspiration. Yeah.
With his Russian band. Yes.
Yes.
Where is that video? Here we are.
Famous for having. Yeah.
Yes. And with this video, I'm going to welcome to the show again one of my sweet, sweet friends, Eli. Eli!
Yeah, love that shit. Love that.
What's up, Eli?
One of my favorite Bombad Cast clips.
It's great.
Yeah.
Again, seen by Ann Convery and now Dave Filoni. We know for sure. Like he has seen that and knows that exists.
I mean, he already
so
exists
probably one of the best things in the world.
So, you know.
He was saying like, guys, I don't like. No one's supposed to know my secret Russian Chicago cover band. Yeah, please.
It's his secret past, and we're all just like diving into it now. And he's like, "Oh shit." Well,
I can't hear that song though. Now I can't hear that song and not see Dave Filoni though. That's like it's ruined. That not ruined. It's forever changed. Inspiration for me. So anyway, Eli, how are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing good. You know, hanging, preparing for some future in the galaxy stuff and just general stuff that I may or may not be able to talk about. So
okay. I was gonna say, yeah, your trivia matches have been really like hopping recently, and all that, and with the Schmodown ending, I mean. You're right. The throne is there's a vacuum of power that is ready to be filled, Eli.
So I've been watching the Schmodowns end today. Actually, it's the most depressing. Like I'm a huge fan of their stuff, and so it's like really, really sad for me. Yeah, I understand, right. Brian. Look,
listen, it's a Saturday, Brian.
My parents gave me some exceptions. No, but to your point, Epic Confrontations has been like really, really like it's taken the front seat. Absolutely not that our regular show isn't fun. It is, and I'm glad to be back to it. But no, we're filming again tomorrow. Actually, that's what I was working on. We're filming tomorrow.
Wow.
So,
Okay. It's a big thing, big time matches and stuff coming up, right? I've got one coming up, but I'll tell you this: I don't know when it is, like, because I don't pay attention to my.
We haven't scheduled it. We haven't scheduled.
Okay, that's good. That makes sense as to why I don't know when it is. Then, so yeah, I'll just continue
I'm
my
excited.
normal life then until.
No, I'm excited. I think it'll probably be later because often, like in the month of November, because often when we have two that shoot close together, I like to give us a little bit more time before going back into it, just to get questions written and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see you debut in there. I'm excited to see all the stuff that's gonna be happening that I can and cannot talk about.
This Eli is an international man of mystery, is what I will say. And so I just listen. You're gonna come. You just came in here to tease us, didn't you? That's all you came in here to do.
No, I came in here to talk with you and Peter, but like, it's a fringe benefit.
Well,
it's a fringe benefit.
Okay, gotcha. Well, is there anything with the conversation that we had earlier about acting and different things, you know, we've talked about that you wanted to bring up, or
pro wrestling,
or wrestling? What do you want to talk about, Eli?
No, I was interested in a lot of like the wrestling culture stuff because I am not a big fan of wrestling myself, but I have watched the Schmodown for like a few years, and that has a lot of wrestling aspects to it, and I've just begun in the last few years to like really appreciate the aspects of that larger like culture surrounding it. And like I remember when there was a thing in the Schmodown a few years ago where this guy, this one competitor hit this guy with a chair. I'm like, and I've watched that. And I'm like, oh my god.
What, on the Schmodown?
Yeah.
Someone took a chair shot on an internet trivia show. That's amazing.
Yes. That is. If you're,
you might actually really dig a lot of that. I think. Like I haven't watched much of it, but it is very much wrestling with trivia.
It really is. It's fantastic. The final stuff aired today.
It's ending, so it's you're kind of done.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But no.
Eli's bringing it back though.
It was actually in that chair thing was actually in a wrestling arena.
Nice.
They did. Oh wow. Okay.
It was. They only did it. It was in a wrestling ring in Houston, is where it was. It was the most wrestling that thing ever got. It was freaking crazy. Like even I watch it then, and like you know who was there? And I'm not sure how big of a name she still is in wrestling, but do either of you know Booker T?
Oh yeah, Booker T. Booker T was one of those guys who I thought never really got his due. I thought he was a really great. I think he's still working as a commentator. But he was really exciting to watch. I really liked him.
He was there for that match, and he was.
That's awesome.
It was all these like crazy characters, and then just Booker T standing right there watching, a guy being hit by a chair after.
So you had never seen anything like that before? Like you had no concept, or you knew they did that in wrestling though, didn't you?
I did. I had some vague ideas,
but like
it was the first time I'd seen that.
That came out of nowhere.
It came out of
oh my god.
Nowhere. Yeah, and like all the promos and stuff, and all of the betrayals and the friendships forming and the friendships breaking.
There's lots of soap opera style like backstage drama elements.
It really is.
Yeah, wrestling has a lot in common as an art form with drag. It's just drag with fighting in a ring as an element of it.
Michael's coming out hot here.
Yeah, I know.
Just mildly incoherent commentary from time to time.
Michael's doing what he usually does, which is, shoot in the dark with his opinions. Some of them are right and some of them are not, and so he can do. I look. He
You can tell there's a wrestling atmosphere with these guys in the back, right? Like that. It's just that
110%. But Michael knows that there's some stuff I agree with him on, and some stuff that I disagree with him on KOTOR 2. Anyway, sorry, that was bad cough. Didn't hear anything.
Better get that checked out.
Yeah. I just spoke badly of Knights of the Old Republic 2, and I can hear half of the goons just absolutely wanting to like slit my throat, because the last time I said that on Twitter, like all of them ratioed me. So
listen, internet people are going to be internet people, and they like their staple things like KOTOR. And so
apparently,
you can get a lot of attention on the internet by having a strong opinion about a beloved video game. That's a very quick way.
Yeah.
Yes,
to get a lot of people.
And that strong opinion can be. Yeah.
I
that
love
strong
KOTOR
opinion
1.
can just be, oh, I don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love KOTOR 1. 2 is like actually one of the reasons I don't like KOTOR 2 is how much it deviates from 1, because I think 1 is actually for like pound for pound a really good story.
But which one's G canon?
Let's see. Trying to do the calculations in my head.
Neither.
I would assume that neither of them. I would assume that neither of them were.
Wikipedia
Video
was in
games
the
were
chat.
always a very low canon level.
No, I'm joking. It's definitely
Wikipedia.
neither
Hello
of them.
there. Which one is G canon?
It's neither of them. I know it's neither of them.
Neither?
They're both Legends now, and even when Legends
All
was
of
the
it.
only
Well, all
thing.
of it, yeah. But that's not even a thing. I'm being facetious, of course, but you know.
No, I am too. But yeah, no. There's like that. That's the thing. Yeah, absolutely. It was
All
just
about
about
that character.
it was incredible while it lasted. There were some choices that Schmodown made that I didn't agree with during towards the end, but as a whole, the fact that they were able to carry it on for 9 seasons was like freaking incredible.
Jesus,
that's a long time to keep a show going.
It is incredible, and they had at their peak, which was, again, people will argue about when their peak is, but my peak was the season last year. They had 4 divisions going. They had like regular movies that did the teams, which is just 2v2, and then they had what they called Inner Geekdom, which was like geek trivia about stuff, and then they had an entire Star Wars division just for Star Wars trivia. And I guarantee you some of the names from this general Star Wars space you'd know from there. Alex and Molly Damon were both a part of it.
I was gonna say, yeah, the Damons were in it, right?
Yeah,
Both of them.
Yeah, Laura Kelly, Andres Cabrera, Thomas Harper, like big names in the Star Wars community. They got them to be a part of this, and these things got so brutal, and it got to a point, specifically with Star Wars, where you could not miss a question or you would lose. I mean, it was
like professional bowling.
it was at that height. It wasn't like really about the wrestling, and it was just about like that. Can you name this background character from this one scene, from this one frame? It was freaking. It was nuts. Yeah. No, but through that, I've gained a lot of appreciation for wrestling and a lot of the wrestling bits. The one that we all like to talk about, I know, in our circle is Scott Steiner at Sacrifice.
Oh man, the big bad booty daddy, Scott Steiner, the most
what the hell?
Incoherent, the most There is a video that you need to see of Scott Steiner. Essentially, it's this one promo that's usually referred to as like Scott Steiner doing math. It's about
I know what you're talking about now. The booty daddy thing threw me off. I was like,
yeah,
what the
Yeah, no.
You stupid white trash redneck. You big bad dude. Yeah, I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal. Because he had kind of a lateral list. He was on so many steroids. That's right, Big Papa Pumps. He wore a chainmail like headpiece and sunglasses with like a partially bleached goatee. He would constantly antagonize the audience, and he would screw up his lines all the time. So things wouldn't come out right. One of my favorite promos of his was, I think it was the backstage TNA thing, and he's like trying to pump up the guys, and he's jumping up and down on the bench in the locker room, and he's yelling, "Remember Hiro Jima? Remember when Pearl Harbor bombed the Germans? Well, it's payback time now, baby."
Dear God. No, I see people in the chat.
Remember when Pearl Harbor bombed the Germans?
Dear God. I see people in the chat.
Unbelievable.
I see Michael and Connor referring
This
to the
is
Matt
real.
Yeah. No,
Sorry,
Scott Steiner he owns a Shoney's now. He's retired from wrestling, and he owns a Shoney's somewhere in the South.
He owns a Shoney's.
He owns a Shoney's.
I haven't seen a Shoney's
now.
in like 10 years. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh man, I used to own a Shoney bear. So
He and his brother Rick Steiner were a tag team. They were a very good tag team. But yeah, like it was when Scott went solo and just started acting like a madman that like he kind of really became a fixture of WCW and TNA Impact. And there's also a good video of him, I think, after he bought the Shoney's, like tearing down part of the old building with the backhoe for a remodel or something like that. It's a very entertaining, very weird character, Scott Steiner.
We'll have to check that out for sure. Yeah. Well,
just the opening line of that promo. The opening line of that promo. You know, they say all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at Samoa Joe and you see that that statement is not true.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It just works.
Yeah. Okay. So, Eli, if you could cut a promo right now for well, I don't know, like who would you cut a promo for right now if you could on the show live right now?
Well, first of all, I will say if you go to my personal Twitter account, I actually already cut a promo for a trivia thing I'm doing very soon against actually your opponent in Epic Confrontations, Mr. Buck O'Brien.
Buck O'Brien.
Because I'm facing him down in on Radio Rebellion in a few months in Star Wars trivia, and it's
let me know how easy he goes down.
I think actually you're gonna face him before I do. So.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. I'll let you know. I'll let you know how easy it is to make the dominoes fall. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, let me know how it goes. Again, I'll be there. But like, and Connor's saying in the comments, yeah, along with him. But again, like the Samoa Joe promo, Connor knows he can't beat me. So.
Joey's not even gonna try.
Yeah.
Yep. Here, hold up. We'll go full screen. Cut that promo.
I literally did the entire Scott Steiner promo. I did, you know, Buck. They say all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at you and you see that statement's not necessarily true. Normally, and I did the whole thing. Normally, you go one-on-one with another Star Wars trivia player. You have a 50-50 chance of winning, but I'm a genetic freak and I'm not normal.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
But the stream may watch, but you put Kurt Angle in there, and Kurt Angle knows that he can't beat me, so he's not even going to try. So
he's
then
not even
your
gonna try.
33% chance goes down, and mine becomes a 66 2/3% chance. But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal. You know, like, so you got to cut your 33% chance in half, which is 60 2/3%. Like that was one of the promos that he pretty much probably did the whole thing the way it was written for him. Like the numbers he got consistently enough to where I think he stayed on track for that one. It's just the crazy sputtering that he does that really brings it to life is so good. It's so good. There were times when he went on, like, God, there's this one, I think it might be before this, it was another time he was beefing with Samoa Joe, and they're just like interviewing him like on the stage or whatever, and you know they're arguing about Samoa Joe, and all of a sudden Steiner just yells out, "And he's fat!" Just everyone starts laughing.
My favorite thing about that promo is afterwards, the interviewers are kind of like they don't know what to make of this, and they go over to his teammate, and his teammate's
Petey,
like, "Oh
yeah.
what he said, what he said,
Little Petey
absolutely,
bump, yeah."
what he said, 100%, everything he said."
Who's also, by the way, wearing a chainmail coif and sunglasses, Jerry. You really have to look it up.
I'm gonna have to look this up.
Scott Steiner compilation.
I'm gonna have to do that. This man
really
sounds like he
something.
belongs in the Bombad cast repertoire, frankly. But
Yes,
yeah,
he does.
No, I went to a very highly educated university. I'm not an idiot like all you white trash.
he says, "Is this Eric Cartman in real life? Is this all this? That's who this sounds like to me."
It's sort of like kind of if like you took the sort of mentality of Eric Cartman and put it into a guy who does lots and lots of steroids. That in a way is
one of the future
Scott
versions
Steiner.
of Eric Cartman. Yeah, for sure. Well, oh my God. Well, you know, honestly, Peter sounds like a guy. Do you want to do Star Wars trivia?
Oh, he also used to refer to himself as the man with the biggest arms in the world, which was also a good title to give himself.
Everything I learn about Scott
great.
Steiner's character makes me like it even more. It's just
The man with the biggest arms in the world, because he also had like an upper Midwest accent, kind of too. It was
Oh my God,
very special.
that's absolutely incredible, man. That's that almost puts the Micro Machine Man to shame, and but maybe not quite. So, but listen, well, Eli, real quick before I send you out, and I didn't do this for Michael, but you know what? Fuck Michael. What I know, I see him flipping me off backstage. I love you too, buddy. Eli, do you have a stupid mashup drawing, a weird mashup that you would like, or suggestion, excuse me, for Peter? What do you got? What you got?
I'm trying to think. I'm gonna go with. I know the first part, which is Enfys Nest, because you mash Enfys Nest up with anything, you know that's gonna be good. Enfys Nest.
Pretty sick helmet.
What? Yeah, no, absolutely.
Enfys Nest, but Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Enfys the Hedgehog. That's what I
the
think
Hedgehog?
it's gonna be. Yeah.
Gotta go.
That
fast
sounds really
for the
rad,
cause.
actually.
Yeah.
That honestly does sound very rad. The Cloud Riders. Cloud Riders sounds like something that would be on Sonic.
It sounds like something from a Sonic game. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it really does. So yeah.
The
Anyway.
Cloud Riders even look like one of those like old video game bosses, like the final level and all that kind of stuff. Of like, oh, you got to face down these band of pirates and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, kind of Enfys, kind of the Silver the Hedgehog of Solo, a Star Wars story.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Much in
All
that
right. Well, hey.
Han and Chewie are kind of the Sonic and Knuckles of.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Why would you say
Chewie
something
really
so
is a Knuckles,
controversial yet
isn't he?
so brave? That's incredible. That's incredible. Well, listen, Eli, thank you so much again for stopping by, sir.
I have a somewhat philosophical question.
Hold on.
Wait,
Go for
actually,
it.
wait. Before Peter does that, pull up Michael's most recent comment.
What we got here? Oh no! I knew you were gonna go
No,
there.
I'm
You
not
sick
doing
bastard.
that.
Please do
That
that.
man has suffered enough at the hands of the internet.
No.
Not quite. He can afford to suffer one final time. Enfys Nest
So
and
my
Sonic.
question is Miles' tails Prower has two tails. Are there also two anuses, or is it just the two tails? Like, how much of the anatomy is related to the tails?
If he
lifts up the two tails, is there one under each tail, or is there one that's in between the two tails?
One in between the two tails. I would think it would be the one in between the two tails because, I mean, he would have to add anuses to his name. Tails, anuses, Miles Prower. So I feel like it's just the one.
So you're saying that if there were two anuses, that would be more remarkable than the tails. That he'd be like Miles Buttholes Prower.
Yeah, you'd have to look. I mean, would you? Wouldn't you? I mean, yeah, they call me assholes.
Instead of tails, he'd be assholes. Get over
They
here.
They call me the double barrel. So I don't know. What do you think though, Eli? Before I send you off into the void, what, does Tails Miles Prower have two buttholes?
I'm gonna go with sure. Yes.
Sure.
Great answer. Great answer. Eli, thank you so much for stopping in here and thinking about why are you thinking about a video game character's anus, man? There's anuses. Anyway, have a good night. Have a good night. So anyway, hey, no, first of all, how dare you? That question was hysterical. But no, okay. Well, wait. What's your answer though? Do you have something you're pondering with that? Or is that just you just want to kind of throw it out into the universe for the cosmic gumbo?
I don't even know if that's my question or in someone else's that I heard. This is just my brain.
Blowing that question came from the ether. That question came from the ether because that is a question that transcends logic and reality. It actually is. It is the most logical question, frankly. So
Luke really is the Tails of Star Wars, isn't he? Though.
Yes, he really is
the young stupid one who. I think Luke is Tails.
Yeah, and he has two anuses. So that's a little known fact. I mean, that might not be G canon though. I'm not really sure.
Well, it's like this. Yeah, it's Tatooine. It's like the Suns.
I just like how this like everyone on Tatooine like just develops a second.
It's a little known side effect of being born on Tatooine.
It's something to do with the gravity, I think. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's technical. It's all very technical, but it's part of
The
it.
sand. It's why Anakin
It's the
resents it so much.
Oh, God. Well, Peter, thank you for coming on this very thoughtful, engaging show.
A very
that we
special
have here.
episode.
Everything. We've ran the gamut. I mean, this has been a special. I knew this was going to be like a special episode. I knew we were gonna get deep in the weeds, and I knew that we were gonna eventually talk about Tails and the number of anuses that the character does have. I knew we were going. The logical conclusion. The slippery slope,
Sonic,
if you will.
Chewie, Knuckles, Luke, Tails, Leia, Amy Rose.
Okay.
I mean, Shadow the Hedgehog obviously is Darth Vader.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Silver, that could be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Big the Cat. Big the Cat is a tricky one.
Big the Cat.
The obvious choice.
I would say Chewbacca for Big the Cat, but
yeah,
I mean, we've already got him for Knuckles.
Yeah, I really got to go with Knuckles for Chewbacca though. I think it just makes sense.
I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't have much experience with Big the Cat, so I can't help you out here. So, nor the number of anuses that the character has. But that's neither here nor there. And so, listen, I've reached my quota on amount of times that I can say anus on YouTube. So we're gonna have to end this. But Peter, do you want to tell people where they can find you? Do you have anything that you want to plug or anything like that? Anything you want to kind of talk about before we get out of here?
Nothing at all. If you want to say hi to me on Twitter or see a picture of Yoda dressed like Steve Urkel, then you can find me on Twitter.
There you go. Find him. Just look. Just do a goog. Do a quick goog. It's fine. But yeah, no, that's fine. And listen, this has been fantastic. I'm glad that we were able to get you on here months after Kenobi, those thoughts burning a hole in your brain, and finally get some of that out. But
I wanted to put together a PowerPoint presentation like I did
I'm
for when we talked
disappointed.
about Danzig and the occult, but a
Yeah.
bear, you know, had other plans, and
Those
I had
damn
to go.
bears.
Yeah.
Those damn bears trying to chew through the water pipes. Well, you know what? It's fine. And I don't know if you saw my tweet about where we had to push back a little bit. I said that we were waiting on the replica brick pile from Dane Sig's front yard to get here because we're, you know, we pull out all the stops and everything.
Oh
so,
man, that would
yeah.
be kind of amazing.
We're pretty cool. If we had the actual brick pile,
Just
though,
me throwing bricks into a dumpster for the entire podcast. Just yelling, "I'm cleaning up my fucking bricks."
That's well. Hey, next time Peter comes on Hyperfocus, we will be. Maybe we'll have the budget by then to start throwing bricks into dumpsters. And so, right.
Good.
But anyway, we'll get you on Bob Edcast proper very soon, because I know Scotty has been like itching like to have you back on and like wax philosophical about the prequels again and everything.
Okay.
And so
It's
we'll have
you
to,
know
we'll have to
I
see what we can do.
I have actually been thinking a little bit about episode 2 lately, just because you know it's my least favorite prequel.
Yeah.
You know, just it. I'm just not as entertained by it, and it has some weird choices in it. But like Phantom Menace, there is kind of an interesting, like the interesting angle in episode 2 to me is that all of this stuff is happening without the involvement of the public really in any way. That's kind of the thing that really this whole this entire thing goes in this very like in episode 1, like this like elected representatives are talking about this conflict and what to do. In episode 2, no one has any idea any of this is happening. An army gets deployed. No Congress people, like it's kind of wild that episode 2 is sort of the CIA operation that's gone wrong. And so I've been meaning to sit down and go through it and think about it some more. But yeah,
listen,
there could be something to talk about there.
Save that because that's actually like brilliant and everything. So, but anyway, I wouldn't put it past you anyway. But yeah, so we'll have to get you on Bombay Cast proper. Again, if you want to find Peter, go in the woods and look for a pipe and a thirsty bear, and I'm sure you'll probably find him there eventually as well. But guys,
Thirsty Bear is probably something else. That's probably some sort of event in the Bay Area, most likely. They have Lazy Bear, which is a Russian River one. I think Thirsty Bear is probably a bar crawl on Polk Street or something like that.
There must be. Oh my God, there probably is. Sound off in the chat. But listen, we're gonna get on out of here. But I actually have a brand new outro for the show. And it is very Bombad cast. It's, which I know Hyperfocus is a different show, but Scotty's changed his outro for Bombad Gaming. And so today I kind of pulled a little, I pulled out a gem, blew off the dust from 1989 and slapped that thing into StreamYard. So I'm going to have the Pizza Time players take us out with a brand new track. But before I do that, Peter, I still don't know how to end the show. And that is how I end the show. So enjoy the Pizza Time players, everyone.
You know, my Uncle Buford was a dream chaser. He dreamed of chasing rabbits mostly, and he'd bark and kick and carry on like crazy.
Oh, your uncle, huh? Must be genetic.
Well, everybody, I've got a dream too.
You want to sing opera?
Yes, but that's not the dream I meant. I also dream of becoming a great writer.
Really?
Wow! Sure, with a typewriter you can create food for thought without getting tomato sauce all over your clothes. Please, sir or madam, will you read my book? It took me years to write. Will you take a look? It's based on a novel by a man named Lear, and I need a job, so I want to be a paperback writer. Paperback writer. It's 1,000 pages, give or take a few. I'll be writing more in a week or two. You can make it longer if you like this style. I can change it around, and I want to be a paperback writer. write a bestseller.
Well, maybe you could if you found the right subject.
Yeah, I've got it. You can write the inside story of a dream that did come true for the most fascinating and beloved rodent in entertainment history.
You mean the Mickey Mouse?
No,